Hey, Julia Barzyk here from Investigator. So we're in a government shutdown. This started last night at midnight, and so it's our first day. And it's going to be a stressful period. People are already feeling that stress. So I wanted to share some tips for you as to how you can best navigate this period, whether it is a few days or much longer. This one feels ominous, but we don't know what the future will hold. Tried to get Cinnamon in this video here because pets are stress reducers, and she's very cuddly and soft. So maybe she'll provide some comfort to us. Okay, so the first thing to keep in mind is that it's very important not to panic. Government shutdowns have happened before. Every time they happen, it's a unique situation. Of course, like I said, this one does feel ominous. This does feel demoralizing. And that's the reality of the situation that we're in. However, the guidance to not panic remains consistent with, again, like I was talking about with the change of administration or the situation that we're in now. Just remaining calm and taking deep breaths as needed is the first thing you want to remember to do. Along those lines, just keep working, keep doing the work, keep working towards the deadlines that you have on the horizon, and just keep, as much as possible, working as normal. If and when you hear there's a change, an opportunity no longer exists, or a deadline is extended, then adapt with that real information, but do not make the assumption that things are going to be canceled, that deadlines are going to be extended. Practically, don't do that, but then also psychologically, I encourage you not to use this as a reason or excuse to put off doing work and making forward progress on things that you know you want to make forward progress on. Now, keep in mind that some federal employees are working today. They may be working the rest of the week. They may be working beyond that. Of course, I'm not just talking about the exempt people, but I'm talking about people who could be furloughed, but their organizations actually have funds, and so they're going to be able to continue operations until those funds run out. So it's very likely that your points of contact at various funders are not working and they're not available and they're not going to be able to respond to your emails, but some of them may be. So if you are in conversations with someone at a funding organization, keep your ear on the news to see, okay, is that office open right now? Are those people working? If so, you could send a message and continue the conversations that you've been having. Continue working as normal as much as possible. Of course, even if those people are working, they're dealing with the difficult situation now, so they may be slower on email. Do not expect a reply, but don't just write everybody off and say, oh, no one who's a federal employee is working right now. That is not true. Some of them are working. If you have an active grant, of course, if funds are obligated, you can continue spending on those funds or against those funds, right? But if you are waiting on more funds to be obligated, then that is something that could be delayed, just like any time that we don't have a budget operating on a continuing resolution, for example, then there may be a limited amount of funds that are available within an agency, and then a fraction of the funds you're expecting could be obligated. So that's when you can kind of go on these little increments, right? So that's something you may already be familiar with. But in this case, it's possible that you need more funds to be obligated and there will be a delay. So in this case, you want to talk to your institution, understand what's the expectation there. Are you going to be allowed to go in the red to pay students, to pay for your lab operations, or is there going to be a bigger problem than that? Only the folks at your institution are going to be the ones who can give you guidance on what to do there. It's also possible that when you do submit to opportunities, that even if you do that on time, of course, there can be delays in review. We've seen that already this year, and there's just nothing you can do about that, again, except to proceed as normal as much as possible. So my takeaway here is, even though this is a difficult time, there's a lot of uncertainty. We do not know how long this is going to last. We do not know how bad it's going to get. You always want to be moving forward however you can. Don't use this time as an excuse to let up off of the brakes, unless you are planning to go into a little bit of a rest period right now anyway, then that's fine. But you want to always have stuff in the pipeline. There's still many things that you can be working on. I'm not going to go into all of that in a video. I've talked about that in other videos. Maybe I'll make a new one soon and give you all some ideas for what you can move forward on, whether the federal government is operating or not. But very important to remain calm. Don't panic. Take a deep breath. Pet and hug your critters at home. And just take care of yourselves and realize that we will get through this yet again.